This is the delicious book all about chocolate, written by Robert Charles. People around the world love chocolate. They love it so much that every year they eat more chocolate than any other sweet. If you have ever wondered where chocolate comes from and how it's made, then read on. Where chocolate comes from. Chocolate actually grows on trees, but you can't just pick a chunk of chocolate from a tree branch and eat it. The chocolate growing on trees looks, tastes and smells nothing like the chocolate you eat. The trees that give us chocolate, the cacao tree, chocolate comes from beans that are found in large pods on the tree. Cacao tree grows where it is hot and wet. Mostly they grow near the equator. Today, most cacao trees are grown on farms. Cacao trees have lots of small flowers. Some of the flowers change into pods, but most do not. It takes 4 to 5 years before a cacao tree begins to grow pods. Workers trim the branches to get the most pods from the trees. The pods change from green to a golden or reddish colour as they ripen. Preparing the beans. Taking ripe pods from the cacao tree is the first step in making chocolate. Inside each pod are 20 to 50 beans. The cacao beans are the tree's seeds. It takes a lot of beans and a lot of work to make chocolate. The pods are first gathered and then cut open with a large blade. The beans are then scooped out of the open pods. The beans are cream coloured and covered with a soft pulp. These beans are still very different from the chocolate you know. The pulp-covered beans are put into piles or boxes and covered. They begin to change from a cream colour to a purple colour after contact with the air. The beans also change on the inside in a process called fermentation. After the beans have fermented, they are dried. As they dry, the beans are turned. Once the beans are dry, they are placed in large cloth bags and shipped to makers of chocolate. From beans to chocolate. Making chocolate from the fermented dried beans is a complicated process. First, the beans need to be cleaned. Then chocolate makers blend different kinds of beans together. This is to make sure the chocolate has just the right flavour. The beans are roasted in order to bring out the chocolate flavour. This is when the beans begin to smell like chocolate. As beans are roasted, the thin shell that covers them grows brittle. The beans pass through a machine that cracks their shells and blows away the pieces of shell with fans. After the shells are removed, only the meaty part of the bean, called the nib, remains. The nibs are ground up and crushed until they become a liquid. The liquid is poured into moulds where it cools into bars of bitter, unsweetened chocolate. The bars are then pressed until a yellow liquid called cacao butter is removed. The cacao butter drains through a screen and is collected to make the chocolate we eat. After the liquid cacao butter is removed, the solid part of the bar is ground into a powder. Cacao powder is sent to dairies and bakeries to flavour baked goods and dairy products. The chocolate we eat is made in the final step of mixing. The mixing takes place in machines with big rollers. Sugar, cacao powder, cacao butter and other ingredients are rolled and mixed until smooth. The smooth mixture is poured into moulds and cooled. After it has cooked and solidified, the chocolate is wrapped in packages for shipping. History of chocolate. People in what is now Mexico were drinking chocolate 2,000 years ago. It was very bitter, a bit like coffee. In time, people brought cacao beans across the ocean to Spain, but chocolate only became popular in Europe once people started adding sugar to it. The invention of milk chocolate made it more popular still. Once factories started making chocolate in the 1700s, it became a favourite treat in many countries. Chocolate today. Most of the chocolate made in factories today is used to make chocolate candy. Other chocolate goes into ice cream, chocolate drinks, and baked goods such as cakes and donuts. Each year, people around the world consume or eat tons of chocolate. It took a long time for chocolate to become popular throughout the world. Today, people everywhere eat lots of chocolate, making it the world's most popular sweet. And that is the delicious book all about chocolates, written by Robert Charles.